Hi, welcome. My name is Tyler, and I'm with Enalcased Education Consulting, and I'm here with my friend Mary.
Hi, I'm Mary. I'm from Mountaintop Education Consulting.
And we are here because some of the questions that we've been getting a lot recently have to do with what do we do when we have new students, multilingual learners, and specifically newcomers arriving at different points of the school year. It looks a lot different than when students are arriving at the beginning of the school year. So it's really important for us to have this conversation about what the responsibilities are and how we should work for a common goal to make these students feel welcome.
Yeah, so I think Tyler and I have both been in the classroom as ESL teachers. We both been administrators as well. So I think looking at this from an administrative viewpoint is really important, right? So the first thing we want to remember is, what do we feel like when we go into a new space that we're not used to? It can be, a little anxiety ridden. Even something as simple as going to a new yoga studio, right? You don't know what the rules are. You want to make sure you follow the routines, that you don't look silly. And that's us as adults. So now thinking about kids coming into the new situation, a new school. If you're an American student from an American school coming into another American school, it's still really nerve-wracking, but you have some background in that. So then we want to think about, okay, what about for our English language learners, and especially for our newcomers who haven't had the opportunity to see what it's like in an American school system? And often it's quite different. So what are some things as administrators that we want to make sure we're doing and that our teachers are doing? So Tyler, what do we want to start with for a first idea?
So for our first idea, I think we want to talk about the responsibilities. Who's responsible for what? Where do these responsibilities lie? And what are the expectations, right? Because I think with lack of clarity in that area, I know in my experience, that has always caused a little bit of, um, I don't want to use the term turmoil, but it's made things challenging for all involved if there's not clear um, communication and clarity around who's responsible for what. And the first thing that I want to say about that is these students are everybody's responsibility, right? It's not just the classroom teacher, it's not just the ESL teacher, it's everyone. And so that means that everyone has a role, right?
Yeah.
So
But to
from
simplify our roles too, right? We don't always want to be doing the same thing. And I feel like sometimes that happens. So if I'm a building administrator, I want to know, what did central office, if we're a large enough school district for this, right? What did central office already do? What was their welcoming piece for the student and the family, right? So the family engagement is a whole nother piece that we'll get into, but for the student. And then at the school level, how are we welcoming them to the school on the first day, in the first week? What do they have to know? Am I going to greet them individually so they know who I am as the administrator and the administrative team as well? And then what am I looking for the classroom teacher to be doing? And if we each take a part of that, we're not siloed in what we're doing. It becomes a lot easier to make happen over time, right?
That's an important piece.
Over
That's a really
time.
important piece right there.
Yeah. So the expectation is not that, oh my gosh, I have a new student coming next week. I need to set everything up to have them feel welcome and be prepared. But you do want to have something set up to have them feel welcome.
And an important first step is to be reflecting on what you might already have in place, and then to figure out, here are the things that I have, this is what's working well, what are the other pieces that would make it work even better, right? And what are those small bite-sized pieces that we can start to implement from whatever point of the year it is through the end of the year. Right now for us, this is New Year's. So we're in our minds, we're thinking about returning to school after the holiday break. So in your school or in your district, there may already be some expectations about what should be happening within the school or in the classrooms as a reset, right?
Mhm.
A behavior and um, routine kind of reset and reminder for students after they've been away, out of the classroom for a week, 2 weeks, however long your break may be.
Hmm. And one of the
So,
suggestions we have for teachers as well is to have an ambassador or a student buddy to be welcoming that new student. But as the administrator, this is going to look different in all different systems, right? If you're a large system and middle or smaller, um, how many students are you getting and how often? Because you don't necessarily want to have students out of the classroom as the ambassador if you have a bunch of new students coming in. You don't necessarily want your classroom teacher taking too much time for new student arrival. So is there somebody else? Is there a guidance counselor who can give the tour of the building and do some more of the larger school piece of the welcoming and in learning about that culture so the classroom teacher can focus on the classroom culture and really getting the student prepared for that piece, and having clear expectations from admin what that looks like.
yeah, absolutely. And we shared some ideas for teachers with what they can do within their classroom to help welcome these students. And one of those ideas is a welcome packet for students with pertinent information about their classroom or school. But if something like that already exists from your school, specifically from the office, then that is something to think about reminding teachers that this should be shared with these new families and new students. And as Mary mentioned, we'll talk about families in another session, but um, just thinking about those things that already exist, and then also considering maybe the languages that are most popular for your area. Maybe you have a large Spanish speaking population. Maybe you have a large Chinese population. There are different parts of the world migrate to different parts of the country for different reasons. So we have lots of different languages. So thinking about how to be prepared ahead of time. If you're a larger district, you may already have a lot of these resources um, that are already compiled and translated into different languages. But if you're a smaller, low incidence district, this might be something very, very new. And again, like Mary said, we're not saying do all of this right now. It's just those small steps and thinking about where we are now and what we need to do to move forward.
In with that part too, we need to speak a little bit about same is not equal. So again, if you are a district that's newer to this and you're welcoming newcomers, there's going to be additional layers of pieces that have to be part of the welcoming process, right? But the idea that we're not giving the same thing to every student. You know, the real visual of that is not every student has glasses, but if you need them, you get them because that's bringing you to baseline so you can do the same work. So similar for our newcomers and our L students, there's additional pieces that we have to think about. And I think that has to be very clear with administrators and with teachers.
Yes, absolutely. And also to be able to prepare them if those conversations come up with students, right?
Mm,
They're noticing maybe that things are different, or some students might be getting what they consider to be more, but it's not. And there's a reason that the Office of Civil Rights has come up and created these laws because of incidents that have occurred in the past with inequities among different populations and with students with multilingual learners coming with limited or beginning proficiency levels in English at the time. It has to look different. It should look different. If we're doing the same thing for our student that's just coming from Egypt as we are from a student who's transferring in from California, it should not be the same.
Wrong.
There's something very, very wrong, right? So if this is new for you, then it might take a little bit of a mind shift to really wrap your head around that. But I think the example Mary gave with eyeglasses, with reading glasses, that's really important, right?
And there's
And I
some
think,
great ways that we can show teachers and show other students that equal versus the equity piece. Go ahead, Tyler, I cut you off.
oh no, I forgot what I was going to say. It's okay.
All
Oh
right.
no, I was going to say, I think we're very, at this point, used to what this looks like in the special education field, right? Because we know that certain students have different learning needs, whether that's a cognitive or academic or a physical need. And so while it's not the exact same thing for our English learners, multilingual learners, it's the same idea, right? Because now we're looking at it at a cultural and linguistic level versus an academic or cognitive or a physical disability. But again, if this is a new idea or a new concept, it's going to take a little bit of time. So if this feels uncomfortable, that's okay. That's
Yep.
normal,
That's how change happens, right?
right? Yeah,
And if it's something you
absolutely.
want to explore more, reach out to us. We're
Please.
happy to work on this to give specifics for specific situations and really help you move forward with it as well.
Yes, and we are also planning on continuing to share important, what we feel is very, very important information, specifically about this population of students. So please reach out to us. Our contact information will be shared below so that you can reach out to either of us with any questions or concerns or even suggestions for topics that we might want to discuss. So thank you again for being here with us, and we hope you join us again soon.
Thanks all. See you soon.